we've got the women's Madison coming up next. With
one of my favourite and scariest races to commentate on.
What, for the riders or from a commentary perspective?
It's very hard, isn't it, to know what's going on sometimes.
Well, we've got a lot of very talented riders in this field, and from a British point of view, lots to look forward to. Eleanor Barker racing alongside Katie Archibald in this race. There's Katie Archibald. She raced with Manon Lloyd last year, and the first time that it was held, actually, in Glasgow. It was a very eventful race. She suffered a fractured wrist, but still managed to win. And there's Eleanor Barker. World champion in the points race in Hong Kong earlier this year. He got a silver in the scratch and in the Madison as well. Pulled out of the London Six recently, unwell, but making sure that she was going to be fit and ready to go here for this World Cup meeting in Manchester. But a really strong field. Rachele Barbieri and Elisa Balsamo from Italy. Barbieri is the world scratch race champion. That's a very good pairing.
It is a fascinating event. I'm so glad that it is in the Olympics for Tokyo. It captures so much of what endurance track racing is about, and the skill level to ride one of these is amazing, because when you transfer energy from one rider to another, which they do from a hand sling, which is the best way to manage to get as much energy as possible over to the rider. Of course, one of you slows down dramatically, so there's bodies doing different speeds all over the track.
At the top of the track there, we just saw in the rainbow bands, the Belgian team, Jolien Dura and Lotte Kopecky. They are the world champions, so they won't be in their traditional pale blue jerseys with the black, yellow and red bands. They will be in the rainbow jerseys, because this is the event in which they are the champions.
So Katie Archibald on the Omnium. She's doing the Madison, the team pursuit. She is your one-stop shop for track riders.
But she's in a different jersey to the one she wore last night. If you were watching the women's Omnium, she had the rainbow jersey on there. She's in a British team jersey with a Union flag on the helmet tonight. But we'll keep a close eye on it for you. There she is, Katie Archibald, second in the Omnium. And my goodness me, what a battle it was with Jennifer Valente from the United States.
So apart from the fact it's a team approach, one rider can be in the race at any one time. It's a sprint, it's a point race. Sprints every 10 laps, 5, 3, 2, 1, and double points on the last lap. You gain a lap, it's 20 points.
So the Czech Republic on the front at the moment, and the Czechs represented by Jarmila Makachova and Lucy Hochman. Experienced duo there, with Ukraine currently in second place. Ireland have Lydia Boylan and Lydia Gurley out there. That's a strong duo. European silver medalists in the Madison this year, the Irish pairing. Currently second. There we are, and we're watching Lydia Gurley at the moment. She has the red number. Lydia Boylan has the black number 9.
It's already a very high pace in this event. There's no definitive attack on the go. Now for sprints, we normally see the riders start to position themselves and accelerate with 2 laps to go. In a Madison, it can start from 5 laps out, because they have more energy to spend. And sure enough, as they come around with 5 laps to go, it's the French team that want to put themselves in pole position to try and control this, and the Brits tightly on their wheels. So nicely placed here. It may seem a long way out from the sprints, but in a Madison, you've got to think things a long way ahead.
Yeah, it's Laurie Berton for the French at the moment, just giving way at the front of the race. The Russians doing a change on the inside at the moment, and Gulnaz Badikova is leading the field around with the world champion right on her shoulder. That's Jolien Dura. So Jolien Dura in the rainbow bands on the front of the race. Badikova there. Germany getting involved as well. The rider from Germany is Romy Kasper, the Ale Cipollini road rider, formerly with Bowles Dolmans for a few seasons as well.
3 laps to go to the sprint this time, so the wind-up will start in earnest. And important to try and get something on the board if you can early on. Put yourself in a defensive position.
Well, the French are having a little look as well. Lisa Kulmer there, the German rider in the middle, just nodded off for a moment and had riders going past her on the inside and the outside in that moment. And now it is Katie Archibald hitting the front at the moment. And Katie Archibald has got Coralie Demey from France trying to chase her, but it's a badly timed change there for the French. And every opportunity here for Great Britain as Eleanor Barker is just swung into the race and takes the points on the line ahead of Germany.
And one of the things that fascinates me about this event is how you time the changes to make sure that you've got the person that you want to contest the sprint at the front at the right time. Always mystified me, never worked that one out.
Everything fascinates me about the Madison, Chris. The skill, the technique, all of the demands of track cycling all come into this one event. That's why the Madison is such a great race.
So as a pair, this is the biggest event that the British duo have contested together. Both of them no strangers to this discipline, but clearly want to take this race by the scruff of the neck.
Yes, Eleanor Barker just throwing Katie Archibald back into the fray. But at the front of the race, the French are there, Coralie Demey, and she has Deura of Belgium right on her wheel. Germany are making sure that they're well placed up at the front of the pack most of the time as well. And Ireland just moving forward around the outside now, coming towards the front. A little bit of an attack coming now, and it's Lydia Gurley from Ireland just opening up a little bit of room, just a few bike lengths, quickly closed down by guess who?
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good idea, because one, it's not that important to move at this stage, and two, you're showing people that you're willing to do the chasing all the time, and when it gets sticky later on, they will let you do it. So better get off the front now and just disappear from sight a little bit if possible.
So the chase now of Lydia Boylan, being led by Great Britain and by Belgium, the world champions. There's Eleanor Barker, who has now closed that gap.
Yeah, Barker chose to close that gap too, so maybe it's a strategy that they've got going, that we are going to go after every point for the opening part of this race.
Lydia Gurley thrown straight back into the action. Great Britain at the end again, and there's a crash bringing down several riders, and I can see, well, definitely two on the ground. Switzerland have gone down, three. The Italians are down as well. And I think that's Barbieri. Yeah, it's Rachele Barbieri, the world scratch race champion. Change of bikes here for the Swiss. They'll go back into action now. And meanwhile, the sprint is on, and Great Britain are going for it. And again, it is Katie Archibald gritting her teeth, leading the way. Here she comes now. Great Britain will take the points again. Belgium second, France third. And the Swiss
She's persisting as well, actually, so we could see the first big move of the race go. So again, action all over the track. In the event of a crash, it's worth noting that the other rider must stay in the race until their partner rejoins, so it's pretty tough on them.
Yeah, riders are all back up and back in action now, everyone up to their full complement of two.
Well, we've got three at the front now, and that's really quite interesting. It's a very strong three as well. Yeah,
Belgium, the world champions, Jolene Dora on the front, and also France with Laurie Berton, the world silver medalist in the Omnium last year. Here are the standings after 2 of the 8 sprints. Britain leading the way ahead of France and Belgium.
Well, they really are on the front foot at the moment, aren't they? 2 sprints in the bag, all over the any moves that have happened so far. Looking strong.
Coralie Demey just moves up the track slightly, has a little look, and settles in behind Great Britain and Belgium as Archibald is back into the fray with Deura right on her wheel.
And Katie Archibald, she looks in good shape at the moment, apart from 2 big efforts that she's made last night, and we've noticed that she colours up when she's under pressure. So we get a warning here. Switzerland are said to have caused that crash. We didn't see the incident.
Here's the crash again now.
and it's so easy to overlap, and looking for a gap when it gets busy, you can find yourself inadvertently coming down on another rider, not intentionally, but still it's your responsibility to look after the safety of yourself and others.
Alexandra Chekina from Russia on the front of the field, with Katie Archibald on her wheel, and moving around the outside, Belgium with Lotte Kopecky. Germany are preparing to make a change as well. They're all bunched up here, 3 laps to go to the next sprint. It's Kopecky on the shoulder of Chekina of Russia. France up there as well, and Ireland again in the green, moving up on the outside.
Surely the Brits aren't going to try and go for another sprint, 3 in a row. That would it's a lot of work, but they are in touch if they wanted to do so. And it's eased, actually, which is very unusual with 2 laps to go to a sprint. But no, they've chosen to sit in the pack for this one. I think that's a wise move.
You notice, you can see why Belgium are the world champions. They're always near the front of the race, Chris, but so far it's not them doing the work at the front. They're just following other people at the front end of the race, as Jolien Dora has been thrown into it now, and she is catapulted past the Russian rider. France are working hard to try and get in the points as well. Ireland might get one too. Jolien Dora takes it on the line, and next over the line was Gulnaz Badikova from Russia.
Well, it's less about the results here for me with the fast race that it's been so far. It's the fact that there's a gap. So they're the real dangers to the British pair, to find yourself having to chase, because once you've got yourself in that position where you've had to do a big chunk of work in this event, it's so hard to find a space to recover. But it's all back together now. Ireland still on the front, and Britain still in the lead, but only 1 point ahead of the Belgians.
Lydia Boylan on the front, and moving around the outside, Katie Archibald for Great Britain, right on the shoulder of the Swiss rider, and that's Aileen Seitz. She's a little bit boxed in.
Well, I think everybody wants to be on the wheel of the Irish pair, who seem to be quite keen to sit on the front and do all the work. So France coming around the outside, found themselves in quite a lot of traffic there. I wonder if they were looking for a possible move.
Yeah, very skillfully negotiating that traffic as well. Laurie Burton, who came 4th in the Omnium yesterday. Lydia Gurley on the front now. Burton in 2nd place. Switzerland in 3rd, and it is Andrea Valdis.
So you can see the technique. Once you look behind, you're watching, you gauge to accelerate enough that you can see the rider coming. Get yourself in the right position, hand sling across, transfer that speed, stay down the bottom of the track until the bunch has gone by, and then up to the top, circling, waiting till it's your turn again.
So Ireland at the front of the race. It's the rider in green who is the front of the race, even though there are riders all over the track. And France in 2nd place, and in action is Coralie de May for the French at the moment. Usabiaga in it for Spain as well, Anna Usabiaga.
Important sprint, this one. I think this is the turning point in the race as we're approaching half distance now. 3 laps to go to the next sprint. I think this one is important. I think the British team, all the main team, Belgium and France, are going to be contesting this one.
So still Ireland on the front doing all the work. Great Britain now moving up into 2nd place now, about to go around the outside with 2 to go. Katie Archibald has got Jolien Dora right on her wheel.
And the change is going to come at the right point now. You can just see that Barker is ready to be thrown in with 1 lap to go to the sprint. Beautiful piece of timing, but it's slow. It's a bit slow, this change. They might have lost the opportunity.
Yeah, Lotte Kopecky has gone straight past, but now here comes the chase. It's Helena Barker right on the wheel of Lotte Kopecky of Belgium. Belgium and Great Britain are going to fight it out. Italy at 3rd at the moment. Has Helena Barker got the legs? Oh, yes, she has. What a ride there by Helena Barker to snag all the points, and she's going to follow up with the effort and open the gap, and the pressure it's really on Kopecky now, and also Barbieri, the Italian rider, is just on her back wheel.
Well, this is it. This is the first concerted attack there, so what a strategy. Beautifully done, total commitments, which makes me believe that was a pre-planned move there.
5 Great Britain, 3 Belgium, 2 for Italy, and Great Britain then still leading the way. They've extended their lead, 15 points to the 12 of the world champions.
But what we have to remember, of course, that final sprint, double points, so if it's close, it can make all the difference.
Just a slight easing there has enabled the French to come up and join them. The Czech Republic trying to get involved as well. That's Jarmila Makachova.
Well, we get to the point now where you're getting tired legs, fresh legs, even within the same team, tired, fresh, and it keeps changing, so the speed oscillating all the time.
So Czech Republic on the front with Makachova, former world points race champion. That was in Minsk in 2013. She's the rider in the blue on the front of the field at this moment in time, dragging them round. The Belgians in second place. There we are. That's Lotte Kopecky, who won 2 races at the World Cup meeting in Prushkov just a week ago. So Kopecky is second in line at the moment. Italy up in third. The Italian rider in action at the moment is Elisa Balsamo, a really talented duo, Balsamo and Barbieri. Eleanor Barker for Great Britain up in the leading group of riders, in the leading half dozen out there on the track. It's a sizable group there at the front of the race. Poland now trying to move up around the outside with Victoria Pikulik.
Well, they're already setting up for the next sprint. They come around this time. I think it will be 3 laps to go, so an important one. And again, the Brits putting themselves in position. I'm just looking to see where Katie Archibald is on the track at the moment. And again, beautifully positioned, likely to be getting thrown in with about a lap and a half to go. So not perfect, but that'll do.
And she starts to wind it up as Eleanor Barker leads the field through, so no traffic for Barker to worry about too much, although the Italians were looking to make life difficult and close the gap there to make sure that she couldn't get to Katie Archibald, but a little spurt in pace there from Barker made sure that she could, and as they take the bell, so Katie Archibald, beautifully timed by Great Britain, and she's opened up an enormous gap here straight away. The world champions are chasing hard. It's Jolene Dora, but she won't catch Katie Archibald here with 30 laps to go. 5 more big points for Great Britain.
And again, persisting, and how fast these gaps going to open up and close down behind. The gap is there, but they're travelling fast. Are they going to persist? These two teams are the class of the field. If they got away together, if they both persisted, that would be the end of this race.
Well, Jolene Doran's just gone there, and Archibald will be glad that it was precisely the who's able to hand over to Eleanor Barker. So Britain and Belgium at the front, and the Italians can sense that this is the move that they need to get onto, and Barbieri just got out of the saddle there, leading the chase to get back to them. Britain then on 20 points, Belgium 15, France on 6.
I think we're going to see a breakaway of 3 go here, because I'm looking at the field and the relative paces, and I think the Italians will get on terms probably, but if they persist, I don't think we'll see these 3 again.
Well, 3 really strong teams here. Belgium, Britain and Italy. And Barbieri, I think, knows that she just has to get on the back of this group.
Yeah, and she'll pay a price for that, even if they do manage to make the junction, which she has now. And it's terrible when you're chasing and you see the change in front of you and you're so close, and then it accelerates away from you again.
So it's Balsamo, the 19-year-old. She was the World Junior Road Race champion only last year. So plenty more to come, I think, from this Italian duo of 19 and 20, respectively.
Yeah, well, that's it now. The 3 are away. They've got space. They've got some clear track behind. They started to take a bit of a breakaway, and you can't do that here. So these are the 3 teams, I think, that are going to make this race, unless there's a massive concerted effort and a real conglomeration behind. The teams get together and all get stuck in, and I'm not seeing it yet.
So Italy now come to the front of the leading group of 3, albeit briefly, and we're back with the Belgians, and we're back with Jolene Dora, who's got Archibald on her wheel, and Balsamo in 3rd.
Warning for the team from Ukraine. No idea what that was for, and I've no embarrassment in saying that, because there's so much action to follow on the track.
Oh, you need eyes in the back of your head here to follow everything that's going on in a Madison race. There's so much activity out on the track.
Well, the 3 at the front are working well together, but they're not really committing to this move, and they have opened up an opportunity for the other teams to get back on terms. It's because they're waiting for this sprint 1 lap to go this time. Barker in pole position. So that's what it is that stopped them really committing to the breakaway.
Yeah, and she got Lotte Kopecky from Belgium on her wheel, and there's no way that Barbieri can hold the pace here. Barbieri looks totally cooked, and here comes Barker again. This is superb Madison riding from the British pairing here. Archibald and Barker, we know they're world class, but they're showing it time after time here in these sprints in the way they're taking on this Madison.
19 laps to go when they come round this time. They can smell the victory now, and again they persisted. This has been a constant tactic. It's surprising that the other teams aren't anticipating it. Not once have they eased off after the sprint, and it means that the others have had to keep fighting as well to try and catch back up. So they really are in pole position here.
The only ones who can almost hang on to their coattails and get involved are the Belgians and the Italians, it would seem. But the United States as well coming in with a late run. That's Kimberly Zubris. They were 8th in the World Championships in Hong Kong earlier this year, the United States, but here just about to make it 4 at the front, I think.
Well, not been scoring in this race so far, so it's not going to make a great deal of difference other than having an extra pair of legs to share the pace-making.
Kimberly Geist as well.
They don't really seem to be too bothered at the front. They're just riding through together.
Kimberly Geist and Kimberly Zubris, 2 riders from Pennsylvania. 16 laps to go. Kopecky, Barker and Barbieri, the riders at the front.
So a 7-point lead at the moment, 2 sprints left, 15 points left to gain. So the Brits not looking to be showing any signs of weakness at all. It's all for the Belgians to do, and even in the sprints, the Belgian pair, the World Championships, aren't besting the Brits, so it's looking very good for them at the moment.
Kimberly Geist was on the front a few moments ago. She's a world champion in the team pursuit. Rider that Eleanor Barker will know all too well, having come up against her as part of the British quartet as well. There's real easing up of pace in their terms anyway.
And suddenly we're all back together. You know, it happens so fast, doesn't it?
The ebb and flow of Madison racing. Archibald back in the race now for Britain at the front.
So a kilometre or 3 laps to go now until the next sprint, and wisely swinging up and just seeking a wheel out. They can afford to not win, you know, they can afford to not win now. They just have to shadow the Belgian pair. They cannot afford to let them get away and get other teams between them.
2 laps to go. They'll take the bell for the next sprint, next time over the line. This is the Italian rider, Elisa Balsamo, on the front.
That's ideal for Archibald because she's got somebody else setting the pace for her, so beautiful for her. She doesn't need to win this one.
Belgium just got stuck a little bit behind Russia there for a moment or two. That's just taken a little bit of their momentum away, but the sprint being led out here by Italy. Italy looking strong.
Well, Belgium found a way through nicely there. The Brits got caught in the traffic, but that's okay. They can afford to give away a point or so there.
It was Barbieri who claimed the 5 points there for Italy. She was the rider who closed that gap when the breakaway went away initially.
So the gap now 6 points and only the final sprint remaining, but it carries a prize of 10 points. So it is possible for the Belgians to overhaul the British team. Italy back on 9, aren't in contention, and they've run out of time to gain a lap. So it is all about this final sprint. We've got teams up the road now. That actually suits Britain at this point, so long as they don't gain a lap, because they're mopping up those valuable points, taking away the opportunity from Belgium.
Looks like it was Jarmila Makacheva at the front of the race. Although she's not the rider who's being pointed at, it is the British rider, Katie Archibald, with Lydia Boylan now going to the front. They were the ones that were signalled by the commissaires as being at the front.
Well, I didn't think that was the case, actually, but we'll bow to their judgment at this point.
Certainly not signalling Makacheva as being at the front. They clearly are, that it's Boylan, Archibald and De Hoore. And again, there's a little bit of a gap opening back towards Italy, France, United States and Russia.
Now, to be clear, it doesn't matter if the British pair do not win this last sprint. It doesn't matter if they finish behind the Belgians, so long as they are next in line, they will take the title. 6 points between them, and they are glued together like a tandem at the moment.
Someone's being pulled out of the race. We won't worry about that too much with 5 laps to go. But here, coming down on the inside there, Eleanor Barker almost colliding with the Belgian rider Jolien Dora, who just threw Lotte Kopecky back into the race there.
Yeah, neither of them want to do the pacemaking at this point, but Belgium being forced through. Barker just swinging up. 3 laps to go as they come around at this time.
Ireland on the front of the race with Lydia Gurley really puffing and blowing here, but leading the way, being followed here by Kopecky. Kopecky has got Great Britain right behind her. There's lots of traffic for riders to negotiate here.
And they all got split up there. I think that was the opportunity that was sensed by the World Championships to get some daylight between us and the British team. But Barker spotted the danger. She's still 2 wheels back, so she's got a bit of work to do now. 2 laps to go.
Boylan leads the way. Belgium in 2nd place. Russia in 3rd. Great Britain make the change in 4th now. And as they take the billets on Katie Archibald, round the outside she goes. Lydia Boylan's not going to be at the front for long, because around goes Jolien Dora, and Archibald's chasing her all the way to the line now. Round the banking for one final time. Katie Archibald in the sprint for the line. Won't take it this time. Beaten to the line by Jolien Dora. But a great ride by the British riders there. Great Britain and the world champions Belgium going head-to-head there in that women's Madison race, and Great Britain take it by 2 points. What a ride, what a race. Belgium take 10 points in the final sprint, Great Britain 6. That's the smile of victory there on the face of Katie Archibald.
Well, they were so dominant. They were so dominant. Those 2 teams, it was between them, just 2 points in it at the end. Only 6 teams, I think, managed to score points. We saw teams losing more than 2 laps there. It was very one-sided in favour of that pair of riders.
Well, that's the sort of noise we're used to inside the velodrome here in Manchester.
Chris Newton, side of the track, the British coach, must be delighted with that performance.
Good night so far for the home riders, the men in the team pursuit, and now the women in the Madison. But that was a superb race.
Well, it was
for every one of those 80 laps.
Controlled by start to finish by the British pair. I think I've rarely seen a British team dominate an event like that. We've certainly seen them win, but to be out in front from the start, to be winning the sprints, to be in control, to be making the forays to see if a breakaway could go, it was all on them. And Belgium, despite their clash, despite being world championships, just constantly on the back foot.
Well, they're world champions in events other than this on the track at the moment. But what a pairing they look in the women's Madison.
Just look at the power there of Katie Archibald. Drives around the outside. They were a little bit in arrears of the Belgians coming into that one due to the traffic, but she got the jump in terms of, she got the change first, which got her onto the wheel. And even now, knowing that she only had to follow, she was still looking for an opportunity to take the win there in the final sprint.
Well, what a cracking race to bring the house down here in Manchester. Katie Archibald adding the gold to the silver that she won in the Omnium last night. And what a wise decision it looks now for Eleanor Barker to have just eased off in the London 6 and got the train home to make sure that she was fit and raring to go here for this World Cup meeting. Quite right, Chris, with Great Britain and Belgium. When you look at the points totals, it was an extraordinarily dominant performance by the pair of them, wasn't it? Nobody else really had a look in at all.
Absolutely. I mean, the French were looking good too, but they missed that move. Italy managed to claw their way forward and get onto those 2 charging teams in the breakaway and got themselves into the bronze medal position. But there was only really 4 teams in that one. Ireland fared well there. Aggressive riding, perhaps tactically not brilliant. They did an awful lot of work on the front, but good potential. They can be happy with that one. Watch the videotapes back, see what they can do to save some energy. Superb.
First of our medal ceremonies coming up here. As you can see, it's the men's team pursuit. France, the first riders up onto the podium. Britain in the middle there as the winners tonight, having beaten Denmark in the final. It was a good race for bronze, though, and the European champions from France there on the right of your picture had to really work for it against Team KGF, the British national champions, who pushed them really hard. It was only the last couple of laps that